Hello everyone, this is an ambitious video. I'm gonna go through tactics for motivated and advanced player. If you know the tactic basics like checkmates and fork and pin and deflection and want to go to the next level and go through advanced tactics, this course is for you. So I'm gonna go into one, why tactics, and two, the two ways to study tactics and give plenty of example and practice. Now, a little bit about me. So this is the level I can help with. So this is my chess.com blitz rating, 25-22. Anyway, that was early this year online. And now if you go in more details, you can see I'm a candidate master and I am in the 99.9% of players on chess.com. Now, I know in this world, we have to be super precise, and I will show you my Lichess credentials here. This is a logo on the right, and now that was a rated, a titled Blitz Arena I played in. You can see game 35. I lost again IM, rated 2508. The same IM I played in round 30, and I won, it's 25-21 at the time. And you see below, I won again another IM on Atog, rated 25-39. Now on top of the screen, you can see my performance in the tournament was 24-75. So I'm fairly consistent between chess.com and Lichess, and that's kind of the level I am at right now. And if you want to get to the level, this video may help you, share a little bit of my journey there. Now, another thing which is important is like I practice, puzzle rush. This is an example on chess.com. Now, of course, grandmasters like Ray Robson, they do a lot better than me. And Hikaru can do 24 puzzles in 3 minutes. So obviously, grandmasters, they're very skilled at tactics and they go even beyond. So if you want to really improve in chess, improve your ratings to my level, you should, target the 40 puzzle rush, but really, I need to improve myself to get to the grandmaster level. This is why I'm not a GM. So if you want to get GM, this video is not for you. I don't know how to do that. So now in tactics now, what is the basic of tactics? Of course, once you know the basics, you need to go to more complex puzzles, books, combinations. Maybe you have a coach. So here, this video will serve you as a lecture if you had a tactics coach. And typically, a coach will set a position like that, and you go and try to solve what the best move to play for white, and go to the tactics, and you practice and practice like that. Now, ideally, the best way to set up a real board, so I set up that position here, and then you go and try to set up on the board. Why on a real board? Then you can remember better, you can move the pieces. Also, if you solve on a real board, you won't be tempted to check what the engine is saying, and so forth and so forth. Now, when we've done that once, you repeat. You can see on the left, that's a famous position I will go through in this video. This is a tile famous combinations. And on the right, I set it up on the board. And I went through that. So that's what you should aim in a perfect world. Now, of course, let's go back to the beginning when I said there was essentially two ways. Another way, you can take this video and you can pause and try to look at the position. And even if you don't want to solve every position, you can go through the variations, the solutions, and then you will learn all these motifs, all these tactical patterns, how to calculate, and then you can apply these techniques to your next real game, whether rapid game, whether you do puzzle rush, whether you play on Lichess, blitz, and you can really apply that. And I want to just little plug on my channel. We have also a lot of different tactics videos I have. So let's say if this video you're gonna listen to all the motifs, you can click on another video, and I'll put a link in the description, and try to solve tactics like Alireza Firouzja does. I have also Hikaru Nakamura tactics. Okay, here we go. Let's start this tactics lecture. So I'm gonna go, with a warm-up, a few warm-up positions, and go with more and more complex positions to solve. So feel free to pause the video now, set it up on the board, or take the time you need to go to the position, then check the solution. Now, this is white to play. If I were to have a position with black to play, I would be putting the board like that. So you're like playing with the black pieces and the 8th rank is towards you. But so you know right away, depending on how the board is set up, whose side is to play. So here, feel free to pause the video. I'm going to reveal the solution in a few seconds. And here for the solution, first, what was the pattern? You see the king in the center. You also see that the queen here is unprotected. So bishop f7 is the solution. If black takes, which you should always consider a capture, then e6, you give a check and you capture the queen. On a5, now you also have to consider what if the king sidestep, king d8 or king f8. Well, at the very least, you win a piece and you are winning. That's all you need to compute. Let's go to the next example. Once again, this is a position white to play and win. Feel free to pause the video. And here again, pretty straightforward example. You actually have checkmate in 4. Check. And here, check. Check. And checkmate. Now going back here, when you do the first move, rook h6, congratulations if you find a move, you also have pawn takes. And here you have a brilliant move, queen g8, and a very nice bishop checkmate. You can see that bishop is looking at this diagonal, and this one at this diagonal, and the king has no escape. So that's pretty straightforward, but it's a good warm-up, this position. Let's go to the next one. In this position, Kasparov had the white pieces, white to play. What would you do here? And the solution is bishop h7, check. Now, if the king were to sidestep, you have checkmate. So clearly, if we go back here, black has to take. And now, how do you win? Queen e6. By having given this check, you put the king on the h7 square, and now you have this very nice spin. And this pawn will fall, and you have checkmate, or black has to give the queen. So all you have to find is this first check, capture, and queen e6, and you win on the spot. Let's go to another example. This position, white to play and win. Okay, here you can see that you're down a piece. So you need to find something very strong. And the first move is rook d7, right? Now, black has to take, otherwise you will do queen h8 checkmate. You give a check. This is forced. You give another check. King moves. And rook g8 checkmate. So here we found a way to finish an attack. Next position. And here we have our first position with black to play. What would you do here in this position? Feel free to take the time you need, look at the position, set it up on a real board, and I'll reveal the solution next. And here the right move is queen take h3. queen sack, check, king move. Obviously, if you come here, you're gonna have checkmate. So the king moves up. You give a check, the king moves up. And now this is why this puzzle was definitely harder than the previous one, because you don't have a checkmate. So you had to think of this position, visualize it in your head, and here come up with the only move to win, which is rook h3. And now what is the idea here? Of course, h6 and rook f6 checkmate. And there's no real way to prevent that. So if you try rook f3, then check, and here you take with the knight, renewing the threat of rook f6. 95 the only way, you take, and now that's the only way to prevent checkmate, and no matter what you do, you have checkmate. So let's review just the process. This is a longer combination, fairly straightforward, but has 9 moves. So the first part of the combination is to get there. And here you have to pause. And is there any way to continue, right? You may think of rook f6 here, but unfortunately here you have f4 and you will not checkmate the king here. You will have just a perpetual. But the right move is rook h3, fine by the grandmaster with the black pieces. And now you have h6 and rook f6. And no matter what you do, as we shown in the variations, you're gonna finish by the checkmate on f6. And here, the king here has nowhere to go. Let's go to the next tactical puzzle. And here, this is again black to play and win. And this position is straightforward if you're familiar with the smothered checkmate. So check is the first move. And now you can see that you have the motif of the queen and the knight and the king. And the right idea is check. Like white take, doesn't matter how. And you finish with the classic smothered checkmate. Queen g1 and a beautiful variation. So a bit simpler than the previous example, but here the key is to identify the motif that you have the king, the knight, and the queen. When you know that, you're trying to find a way to make it work, and the idea is to follow these variations. And you finish with a checkmate. Let's go to another example. In this position, this is white to play. And here Ben Larsen play knight e6 with a crushing position. Now, if you considered knight f5, this is also very good because you're threatening here the bishop, and to take here would fail to queen c3. Anyway, in the game, same idea, knight e6 played. Now, black cannot take because you have queen c3, double attack. You're threatening checkmate on g7 and also the rook on c8. So knight e6, rook c4 was played. And now you have to find the second move, knight h6. Congrats if you saw that, right? Now clearly if the king moves, you have an easy checkmate. So black takes, and here queen h6, threatening checkmate here, and you have no defense. Bishop f8 comes to mind, but then you do check, following by checkmate, and if you try bishop f6, you simply do take, and you hide the end up by delivering checkmate on g7. So again, the idea here was to see that that pawn is vulnerable, and you can also have his queen c3 idea, threatening rook c8 and checkmate over here. So this is definitely a more difficult kind of positions. And as I said in the beginning, this is an ambitious course around tactics for advanced players, 2000, 2200, 2400, up to my level, 2500 online or so. So let's continue our tactic course. And in this position, this is why to play. And here, Robert James Fischer, a former world champion, played knight takes a5. Congrats if you find the move. Now, what is the basic idea? If you take on a5, check, check, and you have checkmate right away. So because you cannot take on a5, then rook c7 was played. Now the knight comes back, the rook came here, and here simply rook b5, and this is a dominating position, and black resigned, didn't want to be tortured, as of course a5 would come and you're gonna dominate the entire board. Let's go to the next example. Once again, why to play? What would you do here? So here, the thought process is obviously you cannot take like that because you will lose the queen. And if you were to take with the queen, you have a back range checkmate. So here the solution is bishop f4. So now that seems to be counterintuitive, but the queen cannot be taken because of the pattern bishop h6. And then you have rook f8 checkmate. So in the game, queen a1 was tried. The king goes to h2. And here, there's no way to defend. So black took and resign here. No matter what you try, you can give a few checks, but you can't avoid rook f8. Now, I must say that in this position, there was no way to save the game. Maybe the best move was to play h5, but here simply the queen c3 and you're up an entire rook. So that was a great combination by Tal, the former world chess champion. Let's see other examples. In this position, this is black to play. Congratulations, you find the winning move, but in the whole combination, you have to start with a check here. Now, obviously, king h1 is a bad idea because you're gonna end up with queen h2 checkmate. Now, can the king hide on f2? No, because you give a check and you have a knight checkmate on h4. So knight f3, the king moves don't work. You have to analyze now taking the knight. Now, obviously, the next move is to give a check. Now, if the king were to move here, bishop f3, and that's game over. If the queen has to take, you're winning that with the black pieces. So, bishop g2 is a move. And now, what is the way to clinch the game? And the answer is rook d2. And there is no way for white to defend against the threat of bishop g2. So very important, a short variation, but rook d2 is the key idea to clinch the game. Let's go to other examples. And here we have a different kind of position, rook and rook, queen versus queen. What would you do with the white pieces? So I'll demonstrate the solutions. The first move is queen g3. But these positions demonstrate the power of the queen, which is a long-range piece with the ability to give tons of check. King h8, queen e5, king g8, queen g5. It's like a staircase. And now what? Now the right idea is to take. Why exchanging? Because now you give a check here, only move. And of course you don't exchange the queens, but you give another check. So that was a series of 6 checks in a row, finishing in checkmate. So that's a pattern you should remember. It may be on the easier side, but that's something you should spot right away. How can you, with the queen, disrupt the other side's position? Now we have a different kind of position. You can see a very messy position, very complex. And what would you do with the white pieces? White to play. In here, where you have several ideas possible, if you were to put a computer, you have a clear strongest first move. And the best move in the position is bishop b6. That's an amazing move played by Mikhail Tal. Now, the first idea is checkmate like that. So that's not possible. So now queen takes was played in the game. And now you have only one way to win, which is queen h4 check, geometry. Now rook f6 played, and now the queen from h8 going to h4 can capture on b4. And all of a sudden we realize that there's no way to defend, and you can finish like that. So very important here, you're clearing the way and preparing this amazing geometry like that, getting to the king. So that's very important, because if you try queen f8 here, king f6, and you are not winning this position. So once again, something similar to the previous position, but definitely a harder puzzle, how to take advantage of the queen's powers. In this position, this is white to play and win. And the right move is queen h6, threatening queen f8. So here black tried rook g3 with the idea, if you were to take over here, then black defends. So that was the second move to do after rook g3. And the idea was this interference motif, bishop g6, a brilliant move. And now you can try to take, but I have checkmate on h7. You have to take, and you have checkmate. So this position was hard because bishop g6, second move, was the real idea behind solving this position. Let's go to the next example. White to play and win. And here, the former world champion Tal, known for his brilliance and his tactical sense, played f6. Now, this is absolute brilliant move, because if you take with the bishop, you give a check, and you're gonna win, let's say like that. So now, if you take with the pawn, g7, promotion. This is a promotion tactics. And on rook g2, you do rook g1, and then you're gonna promote. And here you're promoting and winning. So in the game, rook e2 was played. So now you continue, and you're once again trying to make a queen. So rook takes, very important. Bishop takes because of the back rank threats. Queen e2, and here, excellent move. King c1, protecting your pieces. And now, how do you defend from g8? You can, and white has a winning position. Black resign. And here we have another set of problems to solve with the white pieces. Why to play? So here we're trying to conduct the attack with the white pieces, and to break through, the best move is knight takes g7. So keep in mind that knight h6 doesn't work because you will be able to defend, let's say queen g3, and the king can move on the side. So the idea was knight takes g7, king takes, and what is the follow-up? Knight d4, attacking the queen and heading to f5. So this is a very classic knight maneuver. Queen c8, check, knight g3 check, threatening checkmate on g7. So knight g4, that's a nice try to bring the rook to the rescue. Check, rook g6, and now knight e7 was the move to calculate in the beginning. Congratulations if you saw that. That's how you win the game. And here we have another complex position, lot of open lines. Why to play and win? In here you have to go with a brute force and you have to give up the entire rook to win. Now queen h1, not usual, but the queen comes in. Bishop h6, the king moves up. Queen h4, the king moves up. And queen d4. And you have a checkmate coming just like that. Now, very important here in the beginning, you may be tempted to do bishop g4, but rook f6, and then you have to still work to win the game, right? So you may have some fancy move like queen b5, but then, black can still defend, and it's not so clear. You have to work. So you may be winning in this position, but you still are up a piece. Much more powerful was winning by force with these combinations. In here, another challenge. Can you find the best move with the white pieces? And the answer is bishop take h6. Now, in the game, queen h6 played, and here, beautiful queen g5, and you're winning. And on a4, white find the best move. You don't take the queen yet. You rook e6, and now you're really winning additional material. Now, the key idea would be, what about if pawn takes? You have to calculate that. Here you have two winning moves. Rook e6 wins because you have knight g5 check next, or you can go knight g5 first. Let me show you knight g5, and here rook e6, and you are winning. Let's say black is a check, you move, and now you are completely winning with the white pieces winning the queen. Let's say the queen moves. What is the right move over here? You have multiple ways to win. Queen h6 would win, but rook check would win. If you put the rook here, queen h6, and you are threatening checkmate. No matter what you do, you're checkmating on g7 or on h8. There is no defense over here. Now, instead of knight g5 check, rook e6 would work because obviously on that you would have knight g5 check, and there is no defense on rook e6. If you were to do a check like that, then once again you would have king f1, and on rook e6 here, also king f1 wins in both cases. So you are winning there, and that was something to really see this pattern of knight g5 and rook e6. Beautiful stuff to go through this Spanish game type of middle game. And now I would like to present the final position in this course, one of the most complex. Can you figure out a way to win with the white pieces? And here the first move was knight f6, played by Vichy Anand. Now in the game, rook e5 was a defense. If black has taken here, you simply take back. You're threatening queen g5 and queen g8 checkmate. And on h6, what would be the idea? You have several ideas here winning, but you could simply do, let's say, king h1 would win with the idea to go rook g1, or you would have bishop c2 winning, and then no matter what you do, let's say rook c4, here you will be winning with the move like rook g1, and you're gonna finish on the on the g file, so on this king h2, and you are winning. So very beautiful stuff on the g file. So in the game, rook e5. Now maybe you consider this move. If not, feel free to pause the video. What is the next blow? And here, brilliant move, g6 is deciding the game. Now, obviously, you're gonna threaten the king, so black is taking this pawn. And what do you do next? Another tactical shot, knight d7. That's absolutely brilliant and difficult to find. The idea would be you're attacking on f8. So if you were to do rook e8, you simply take the bishop. And if you do bishop e7, like in the game, you're taking. And now queen f7 coming on the 8th rank. h6 was tried by white, by black, but queen e8, and that is simply winning. If you do king h7, black missed, queen g6 checks. So once again, the idea was knight f6, g6, and knight d7. Now, to be very exhaustive on g6, you can obviously you cannot take like that because you have queen h4 winning. And on g6, if h6 were played, you have many ways to win, but the best way is to take like that because you're threatening queen h6 check, followed by rook g8 checkmate. This is too hard to defend. And on g5, you have another brilliant move, which would be knight e8. Once again, if you take the queen, you finish like that. So beautiful stuff, and g6 absolutely winning no matter what black tries. So I think that was probably the most complex position to see three very incredible moves, knight f6 followed by g6 followed by knight d7. All the pieces can be taken, but white is crashing through the king side. So Vichy Anand against Bologan in year 2000, that was a very complex position and a very complex course. I hope you enjoyed the variety and the different kind of tactics, and hope that these tactics will serve you well in your next games, whether classical chess, rapid or blitz, or if you're trying to solve more advanced puzzles. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.